I think the Rangers just might find a way to get into the playoffs, especially after they picked up 2 points in that wild overtime win against the Wild on Wednesday night. So let's talk Blue Shirts with Jonny Lazarus of the Daily Face-Off. Jay Lazzy, what's going on, my man?
I'm good. I'm good. Big win last night. Fun win last night. A little bit sloppy, but it's good to be back in the playoff mix and be excited about watching the Rangers.
Yeah,
How you doing?
I wrote in here, wild win, even wilder finish. No pun intended since who they were playing, just threw that dad joke in there. But since you
Definitely
said,
a little intended.
okay, thank you. But if you were talking about how it was a little sloppy, Trocheck makes up for an earlier mistake, but he locked up that much needed 2 points. Talk some hockey to me, Johnny. What were your takeaways from that win?
Well, that win last night was very odd because when you watch the Rangers play the entire year, it might seem like a predictable outcome where they're really sloppy in their D zone. The mistakes cost them. And, Peter Laviolette always says, like, a game like that, there are loud mistakes, right? There might not be a lot of them, but the mistakes that the team makes, the puck ends up in the back of their net. And I really thought the Rangers were actually in control of that game for the majority of it. There was one shift in the second period where they got hemmed in their own zone. But outside of that, like I really thought they dominated. As far as puck possession goes and opportunities go, I haven't seen the high danger chances numbers this morning, but I would imagine that they're in favor of the Rangers. Steve Valiquette does a great job of posting those the day after, so I'll be on the lookout for that. But again, like that Trocheck turnover, the Keandre Miller turnover in the third period that leads to the tying goal, these little mistakes just have hurt the Rangers time and time again all year long. And lately, the power play has had a lot of opportunity to come up big in a big moment. I was at the game in Anaheim last Friday. They get five chances in the third period. They score one. Anaheim comes back from down 2 goals and then wins in overtime. And last night could have been the same situation. The Rangers don't convert on three power play chances in the third period, and they get lucky in overtime, on a great play by Trocheck and Panarin, but that could have cost them again. So a lot of little things happened last night, and luckily it didn't hurt them, in the totality of the 2 points. But, these are things they have to clean up if they're going to make the playoffs.
Well, post game, you asked Peter Laviolette why the Rangers have struggled so much on the power play. You even tweeted that they're two for the last 41 attempts. That's
Yeah.
crazy. What's he saying about how they can get better? And in your opinion, why are they struggling so much on special teams?
Well, for me, I think the struggle right now is just how ineffective Mika Zibanejad and Chris Kreider have been. And that's not me necessarily trying to call them out, but if you look at their past couple of years in the power play, right now this season, I believe Mika Zibanejad only has 6 power play goals, and Chris Kreider only has 8 power play goals. If I'm looking at that correctly, I believe that's the stat. And these guys, over the past couple of years, have been some of the best power play players in the entire NHL. Kreider and Zibanejad are top 10 in power play goals going back to 2021, 22, and they seemed like they were automatic. Last season alone, Chris Kreider had 18 goals in the power play. In 21, 22, he had 26 goals in the power play. Chris Kreider on the net front was one of the best players in that spot in the NHL, and this year he hasn't been nearly as impactful around the crease. But also on the flip side, a lot of that has to do because the players aren't really shooting the puck or putting the puck in areas for Kreider to deflect it. Adam Fox, I think, at the top has to be a little bit more of a shooting threat. This way, the PKers have to respect him as a shooting threat, and that opens up the other lanes for a guy like JT Miller to take a one-timer, or Mika Zibanejad to shoot the puck, or Artemi Panarin to make a play. So there's a lot of little different things that aren't clicking right now that have clicked so well in the past. I mean, I've made this comparison over and over again. You talk about teams in the NBA and how they can live and die by the three-pointer. The Rangers used to live and die by the power play. When the power play isn't scoring goals, this team is in complete shambles. And that's what we're seeing right now. And that's what we've seen all year. The power play has not been nearly as good as it has in the past few years.
All right, hopefully they can turn that around, especially with the playoffs right around the corner. Let's talk about someone that's a part of the future of the Rangers organization. Gabe Perreault made his NHL Rangers debut. You've got a little history with this guy. He was an absolute phenom at Boston College. We're UMass guys. So, we'll hold off on the Boston College respect there for a little bit. But what did you think about his first game with the big boys?
It honestly went exactly as I could have imagined it going. I thought he made a lot of good plays, had a couple of great setups. Honestly, I thought Gabe could have had like 2 or 3 assists. That first one he made to Lafreniere, I know the pass got deflected and Lafreniere had trouble receiving it. But that's like textbook Gabe Perreault. He creates the space and he finds the lanes for his teammates, and he's given so many just like backdoor passes that are easy goals for his former line mates like James Hagens and Ryan Leonard and Will Smith last year. And that's what Ranger players can expect this year, is to be set up for a beautiful extra pass or a tap in, which is, typical Rangers hockey. Sometimes it's a little too cute, but that's Gabe's bread and butter. And even on the power play, I thought he looked incredibly comfortable. There was a sequence in the second period where he set up Johnny Brodzinski for a couple chances in the bumper, and Brodzinski actually hit the crossbar on one of them. The other one was saved by Gustafsson right in the stomach there. But I thought Gabe looked comfortable. He won some board battles. The speed was definitely an adjustment, and you can tell that's something he'll have to work on. And that's, a criticism he's faced for a long time was his foot speed. But he's always had the brain and always had the hockey IQ that has set him far and above everyone else. So as far as thinking the game goes, he was right on par with everyone else. That strength, physicality, and speed is something that we'll need to see him improve over the years. But I'm so excited to keep watching him play. I thought he looked pretty good out there for a first NHL game.
And he's a real smart dude, setting up Brodzinski, who has kind of taken him under his wing since he's gotten to the Rangers. So keep feeding the man that's helping you out there. But I can't wait to see what this kid's career is going to be like. Now let's talk about the immediate future. Right now they're tied with the Canadiens for the second wild card spot. We got 7 games left in the regular season. What's your magic number of wins in that 7 games for the Rangers to make it into the playoffs?
Well, I'll tell you the games that they should win. So they're playing the Devils on the road, the Lightning and Flyers at home, the Islanders, Hurricanes, and Panthers on the road, and then the Lightning at home again. They have to win the game against the Devils. They have to win the game against the Islanders and the Flyers. I think those 3 are must-win games. Those are teams that are technically, well, the Devils are ahead of them in the standings, but I still do think the Rangers right now, just with Jack Hughes being hurt, are more talented. The Devils missing their best player. You have to take advantage of that. Those are the games you have to win. Absolutely have to win. If you can go on the road and steal one in Carolina or steal one in Florida, and Florida hasn't been nearly as good lately as they have been all year, so that's a game that the Rangers should win as well. The Lightning ones, those are tough. Tampa's playing some really good hockey right now, but they are on home ice. So you could have the advantage there, even though home ice hasn't been much of an advantage this year. I know I'm kind of rambling here, but I think the Rangers have to win at least 4 of those games to get in. If they win 3, it's not good enough. You can't play under 500 hockey and expect to get into the playoffs. So 4 out of 7 is the minimum. If they can get 5, I like their chances, because Montreal and all the other teams that are in the hunt right now haven't been as consistent really either. But that Devils game, the Flyers game, the Islanders game, those are absolutely must wins. And if you can find a way to win one more, I'll feel pretty good about their chances.
I would say, so you're saying there's a chance, but I don't want to get back into a Dumb and Dumber dispute with you. Debate again. Real quick before I let you go, what'd you think of former Ranger Matt Zuccarello's Sam Rosen tribute?
So it's funny. I was actually looking down at the roster sheet, and I was like, who is Rosen? When you're higher up, and sometimes, I watch the road teams. Other times I watch, a player on the Rangers if there's a lineup change and whatnot. So last night I was really just focused on Gabe Perreault and, any lineup changes the Rangers might have had. So I wasn't looking over at Minnesota so much. But when I did pick up on it, I thought it was incredible. Matt Zuccarello was such an important piece to the Rangers, playoff runs through the early 2010 era. And, I actually got to see him for a second after the game, and I told him that I loved the tribute he did, and he had a huge smile with his 2 missing teeth, which was great. But, Zuccarello was a fan favorite here for so many years. Obviously, he's got a great relationship with Sam Rosen, and, everyone's been doing such a great job at showing their appreciation for Sam, because doing this for 40 years, not only is it not easy, but the consistency that Sam has shown over the 40 years. He has not lost his fastball. He's still got it, and I think that's the best part of it, that Sam, is going out, in a spot where he's still on the money with all of his calls, and people can still really enjoy him doing the broadcast, and I think that's been great. So seeing a guy like Zuccarello do that was awesome, and I'm sure it, made all the Ranger fans feel pretty good.
I tell people all the time, man, sometimes it's bigger than the sport. You know what I mean? From your days playing, it's bigger than the sports. The relationships we make with people off the ice, off the court, off the pitch, or whatever. I mean, that's lifelong right there. Jay Lazzy, appreciate you hopping on with us, my man.
Thank you, Brandon. Appreciate it.